Have you ever thought about adding servers for previous expansions as they were then?
You think you do, but you don't.
In an age of the ever-growing, always-online, microtransaction-heavy live games, we saw what looks like the transition from the original always-online MMORPG. Gone are the days developers and publishers pushing for their own massive online game. I guess most of them commonly failing will do that. You can point to a great deal of reasons this genre is on the downhill, as it's just how gaming has evolved, and not always for the better. The new version of the traditional MMO can now be seen in games like Destiny and BioWare's upcoming Anthem's MMO-like appearance, offering what people played MMOs for in a far more accessible form. These games offer the same gameplay push to focus on logging in daily, achieving short goals, and experience the grind through patches and additional content. And that good old-fashioned belief that pay-to-play creates a premium experience has been hurt by non-game services. World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy XIV, for example, cost as much as Netflix, but you get access to a single game, rather than the hundreds of movies that Netflix provides. And that's just in a movie and TV scenario. Even in the gaming industry now, with Xbox Game Pass, we've seen the push to this happening here, which then creates a different feeling of what actually is value for money in gaming, and do subscription-based games earn that value. We've seen a few AAA MMORPGs having to change the way they are monetized, such as Elder Scrolls Online and Star Wars: The Old Republic dropping the pay-to-play model. This did help push the games into a more accessible model that Guild Wars 2 spearheaded, and it worked, especially for Elder Scrolls Online. But to fix the monetization hole, which is the issue a lot of people have when pay-to-play goes free-to-play, they need a way to gain money, because after all, these games at the prime made shitloads of money for the companies. The subscription model never truly dies, as it's now just an optional bonus that are meant to promote subscribing to the game. You can see this feature in Elder Scrolls Online, you can see it in Rift, you can see it in Star Wars: The Old Republic, and I think the list is endless with this kind of way of monetizing the subscription model's replacement. So alongside the change to this optional payment, microtransactions, the scourge of society, have filled that slight gap, offering cosmetics and experience boosts, to name a few, exclusively in Elder Scrolls Online, while other games do offer the same kind of services. It means a lot of the best cosmetic gear and mounts in Elder Scrolls Online are now locked behind this microtransaction system, which is put behind our favourite thing in the world, loot boxes, basically, so you have to pretty much gamble your way to get a cool looking mount. It creates a feeling and a need for the player to pay. The pay-to-play MMORPGs even adopted this system, with WoW offering full level boosts to the max level, mounts, and customization options. Final Fantasy XIV does this as well. But is how these games cost the only issue? Not really, this is just one piece of the complex puzzle. But another issue with MMOs is an issue of perception. The standard rule to a general audience is that when you see an MMO, you expect it to lack the graphical fidelity like big name single player games like Final Fantasy XV or Assassin's Creed Origins. This creates a feeling by the general public and the potential players that these are lower tier games just based on graphics alone. And if you don't think this is the case, it's very much the case of people just seeing this and making a judgment, and first impressions are everything. It's honestly hard to imagine who would try and pick up these kind of games now, aside from the connection to IPs and brands they recognize and friends who play them. But speaking of brands, it's why a game such as WildStar failed. As a new IP with pay-to-play subscription, it was doomed from the start. It had a lot of promise from die-hard MMO fans who are just looking for that nostalgia. It had such promise, and I even had a lot of fun with it. But MMOs need players, and the players came, left, and never returned, even as WildStar tried to go free to play. This is why Elder Scrolls Online didn't die in the end. It has one of the strongest brands in gaming, Elder Scrolls. This is why Star Wars: The Old Republic lingers on. It's Star Wars. And because gaming has changed and there's so many MMOs available to the market, we're never going to see a peak that World of Warcraft Wrath of the Lich King achieved, and a World of Warcraft killer will never exist. The MMORPG is a niche now, and will likely never reach the mainstream audience it once had. And it's even more evident that with games such as RuneScape 2007 and the soon-to-be-released World of Warcraft Classic, it's easier to get old fans than get new ones, because old fans are looking for that old experience and they will come back. The biggest asset MMOs have are players. These games are built by developers, but they kept going by those who love the game, and it's why MMOs are so special. A game that depends on its player base to survive and to succeed, and a player base who won't give up on it just because the developers and publishers have, with private servers for old games popping up for games like Star Wars Galaxies or Warhammer Online Age of Reckoning. I've played many of these games, made friends, started guilds, enemies who leave nice messages on social media and raid teams, and more. The community clearly makes them what they are, and I expect this to be the case into the future. Well, I didn't cover everything, but what I consider to be the main factors: branding and IP, cost, general appearance, and the overwhelming list of content new players have to tackle, such as World of Warcraft's upcoming 7th expansion. Lag can affect it too for countries like Australia, hello, but it looks like I'm at the end of the script, so that means the video has to end. Thanks for watching this video where I said a lot of acronyms and strange names. If you think I'm right and like the video, subscribe for free. What a deal. If you didn't, leave a comment below and I'll delete it probably, like a developer on Steam. See you next time.
Work, work.